Franciscus. God, that was creepy.
There's the start of the video.
Hello, SoS'ers. Today we're talking about gin. Gin is one of the big six in the liquor family. Unlike a lot of alcohols, the invention of gin is attributed to someone, Franciscus Sylvius. Beyond being a dude with a badass name, Mr. Sylvius was a physician, researcher, and teacher. During his life, he established what may have been the first university-based chemistry lab, wrote a few books, and established the first Michael Bolton fan club. While we're attributing Franciscus Sylvius with the invention of gin, it may have actually happened a slight century or two or four before his birth in the 1600s. There are two other guys who may have invented gin, Sylvius de Boeuf and Jacob van Maerlant. We chose Franciscus Sylvius because I like saying his name. Franciscus. But it's possible none of these guys invented it and it happened before that. But for f***'s sake, enough history. There are three categories of gin as legally defined by the European Union. Gin's a category of gin? Okay. Distilled gin, okay, again, kind of seems just like gin. And London gin. Is that gin made in London? Seems like just gin again. So by my calculation, the three categories of gin are gin, and gin. We're gonna need to explain that in a different video. Linkage on my face, or if we haven't made it, look at me! Gin is made from juniper berries and some other stuff, but the raw taste primarily comes from the juniper berries. The berries are small and look very similar to a blueberry. I've never tried them, but according to Ask.com, which apparently is still a thing, juniper berries have a pungent and piney taste. Like all things, the process for making gin varies slightly from category to category and producer to producer. What makes the biggest difference in the taste of gin is its botanicals. Gin by nature is a neutral spirit, meaning before adding its botanicals, its ABV is very high and it's relatively tasteless. Botanicals are the mix of flavors that go into the gin. They can be herbs, spices, juices, whatever people smarter than me think should be added. Because a gin is defined so much by its botanicals, there's no scale for good and bad. It's an individual thing, which really everything is. So, yeah. Now onto the good part. How do you drink this stuff? Gin is typically on the higher end of the ABV scale, 40 to 50%. It's not typically enjoyed straight, but you can. Usually gin is part of a cocktail, and we are all thinking the same thing. You take your gin, you take your tonic, and you find your ratio. But there are so many other ways to enjoy gin. Gin martini, slow gin fizz, Singapore sling, which I just like saying, and of course the Tom Collins. Recipes down in the description. We encourage you to explore what you like and let us know because we like to try things. In all honesty, I haven't tried many gins, so I really want to know what your favorites are. Because I've only ever had Tanqueray and whatever the bars back in college put in those things they called gin and tonics. And finally, remember that it's always better to have a little of the good stuff than a lot of the bad. Always drink responsibly. Prost. Don't worry about going back. Gin is a neutral spirit, meaning before... You do need to go back.
Focus.
Drinking.